Mac and cheese, one of the most essential of food products. It ranges from impossibly simple to impossibly complex. Where on that spectrum do you want to land? I'll show you the way. All you have to do is hold both my hands, give me this, and we'll make some pasta with cheese on it. Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Babish. Today we're taking a look at 10 levels of mac and cheese, starting with the very easiest. It's even right there in the name. Wow, they rebranded it. It's not Easy Mac anymore. Now it's just called Kraft Mac and Cheese in a cup that you microwave. But it is the easiest iteration of mac that I can imagine. Step 1. Remove lid and cheese sauce pouch. Step 2. Add water to the fill line in cup. Stir. Step 3. Microwave. On high, 3.5 minutes. Step 4. Stir in cheese sauce. And that's the long and short of it. It doesn't say to eat it, but I trust that that's step 5. I remember this being indistinguishable from the box stuff. Why is this so awful? It's so gluey. I put in exactly the right amount of water. I cooked it for the right amount of time. I'll add some water to thin it out, just give it the benefit of the doubt. So, Easy Mac. Well, Kraft Mac and Cheese Microwave Edition. Let's see if it's gross. It's not terribly good. We have some really overcooked noodles, some very undercooked noodles. Then the sauce turned out really gloopy and gelatinous because of the starches that they add to the bowl to help the sauce emulsify without milk. It scratches the mac itch if you're a child or a college student. It's also a form of child, what I would call borderline acceptable. But then there's level 2, boxed mac. Not so easy. Still very easy. Requires cooking utensils and a stove. Step 1. Boil water in medium saucepan. Stir in macaroni. Cook 7 to 8 minutes or until tender. Drain. Do not rinse. Return to pan. Add margarine or butter, milk and cheese sauce. Blue box. As essential a mac and cheese as there is, but let's see if it's worth all that extra effort. It remains as good to this day as it ever was. So yeah, it's lost a lot of that artificial flavor that I really love. Never mind. They changed the recipe and it sucks now. It's too light in color, should be electric orange, and it should taste like chemicals masquerading as cheese. Now it just tastes like... Level 2. Disappointing for unforeseen reasons, but also Blue Box. Can't hate Blue Box. I dare you. Level 3. Blue Box dressed up for the first date it's gone on in years. So it's pulling out the pattern tie, the suspenders, the dress watch, and it's showing off its tattoos by rolling up the French cuffs. It's trying way too hard, but it's still delicious if you just give it a try. So to elevate our Blue Box, first we're gonna make twice as much. That's an upgrade already. Oops. Whoops. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever done. That was... But instead of adding our butter and milk straight to the pan, we're going to heat them up in a separate little saucepan, and we're going to infuse them with spices, paprika, dried garlic, and ground mustard. Get that nice and melty, get the pasta cooked, bring it all together, and then pour it into a buttered cast iron casserole. Then we're not stopping there. We're going to butter up some crushed cornflakes and sprinkle those over top. Then we're going to bake it at 375 Fahrenheit for about 25-30 minutes. All right, level 3, dressed up Kraft. Kraft's all dressed up for dinner. Man, it tastes homemade. And in the end, all we did was add spices and cornflakes. Pretty fantastic result. This is way better and very easy upgrade to Kraft mac and cheese is to treat it like real mac and cheese, which it is. You know what I mean. Level 4, and now we're delving into food hacks. Mixing 3 very simple ingredients together. Will they become something greater than the sum of their parts? I'll let the other me find out. We're going to make a simple cheese sauce out of evaporated milk. This is milk that has much higher protein content than normal milk, which helps something happen. And we're going to use shredded cheese coated in cornstarch. Now you can do this yourself. Shred some cheese, coat it with cornstarch. But to make it super duper easy, we're going to use pre-shredded cheese, something I normally never advise using because it is coated in starch for the very reason that we seek it out today. Now, you need to read the back of the bag because I found, oddly enough, that there's an inverse relationship to price and quality. I have here 3 examples from across the price and quality spectrum. Most expensive, of course, is Organic Valley. This is $2 more expensive than these guys, and you're getting 2 ounces less. That, and it is coated not with starch, but cellulose. Cellulose is wood pulp. I'm not joking. It's wood pulp. Cellulose does not bind proteins together, and it will give you a gritty, clumpy sauce. So what you want to look for are plant-based starches: tapioca starch, potato starch, cornstarch. Kraft mac and cheese, which is oddly the middle of the pack for price, uses only cornstarch, which is great. Cabot, which was shockingly cheaper, and one of my favorite cheese brands because they're all lactose-free, uses potato starch and tapioca starch, both also great candidates. So all we have to do then is heat up some evaporated milk, gently stir in the cheese, and rake in the money. So I'm going to pour 12 ounces of evaporated milk into a saucepan. I'm going to heat it gently over medium-low heat. Add my shredded starch-coated cheese, 12 ounces worth. And we're going to gently whisk the cheese in with the evaporated milk while heating over low heat until melted and smooth. Oh my God, it's working. I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but what we have done is change the game forever. I'm so blown away. Pour in our super easy cheese sauce, and we're going to add a little bit of pasta cooking water, starting with 1/4 cup and adjusting as necessary. Oh, mommy. Wow, dude. Fucking perfect. I don't believe it. Level 4. And holy shit, right? Just kind of made this one up on the spot here. And it appears to have worked, I would say, to a ridiculously good extent. I would say it's worked very well. Look at how freaking gooey it is. It's so perfectly smooth and gooey. And just those 2 things. This is what Stouffer's is trying to be. It's what keeps it up at night. Sweating, tossing, turning. Just like, why can't I be like this? Oh my God. That was the easiest cheese sauce I've ever made, and it is perfectly smooth and creamy and gooey. I think we've just changed the entire world. I think wars will no longer have to be fought that might have been fought otherwise. I think that next up, cure for cancer. I'm allowed to say that because my mom died of cancer. Level 5, one of my favorite recipes from America's Test Kitchen. This is a 1-pot macaroni and cheese. That really works. And it does that by using the stabilizers in American cheese. I'm going to shred this guy, and we're also going to grate 4 ounces of sharp cheddar. This is going to be our source of flavor, and it's going to integrate seamlessly into the cheese sauce by virtue of the shredded yellow American.
Please be careful, it's making me nervous.
That's fine. Brad, this is my craft. My craft cheese. We'll be right back. Does the size of a saute pan matter? Yeah. Different recipes require different size pans, and this one offers great utility in the 12-inch range. So yeah, no, the size of a saute pan matters, absolutely.
Can a small pan still work in some applications though?
Yeah. A small pan can work in some application. I don't really understand your line of questioning and why you're giggling while you're asking. It's a little off-putting. All right, let's head over to the stovetop where other things are going to happen. In a medium saucepan, I'm combining 1.5 cups of whole milk with 1 cup of whole water. Cover and bring it to a rolling simmer. Then we're going to add 8 ounces of elbow macaroni. And we're going to cook this until it's cooked and most of the milk-water mixture has been absorbed. You're going to want to stir this pasta more frequently than others because cooking it in the milk causes it to stick to itself like a young man. discovering his, Then we're going to kill the heat and add our American and cheddar cheese mixture. To amp up the flavor a little bit, I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper and about a 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Always welcome ingredients for any mac and cheese that needs a big hit of flavor. Now that our cheese sauce is nice and gooey, we're going to add a melty factor by stirring in the rest of our shredded cheddar, mixing until just combined throughout the pasta, covering and allowing to melt. If you want to be really, really fancy, hit it with a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. And there you have it, level 5, the first truly from scratch mac and cheese. Really beautiful, creamy, smooth sauce. That's a good sign. Somehow it's smoother than the evaporated milk sauce. At least the extra effort rewards you with something, because I was gonna just forever abandon this method for the evaporated milk one, but it's just so smooth and creamy. The one thing I will say is that the sauce is not nearly as flavorful because it's half American cheese, which does not have much flavor to it. So it's always going to be a little blander than the evaporated milk sauce, and it relies on mustard to bring more cheesy flavor, but really it just kind of tastes like mustard. So it's a wonderful, fantastic option for quick and easy homemade mac and cheese. But if I had to pick one, I'd go evaporated milk. I'd go level 4 over level 5. And that is weird, right? Look, we already did baked mac and cheese. Wouldn't you rather see me take that mac and cheese bread and deep fry it? Skewer it into a tall, erect tower, served in a shallow pool of ranch. That's what I thought. I didn't hear your answer, but I assumed it. And that's what real men do. And there you have it, level 6 mac and cheese. Extra cheese, breaded, deep fried, and served in a shallow pool of ranch. Let's see how it is, though. That works. The mac and cheese and ranch. Weird, it works. So obviously this is both easy and heart healthy, but it did spark a debate here in the office. Is this a preparation of mac and cheese, or is this something to do with mac and cheese? And I'm here to settle it. This is a thing to do with mac and cheese. And while this, of course, is Texas State Fair food, like Texas State Fair food, it's delicious. It's horrible and it's delicious. Almost forgot, in the traditional preparation, of course, it is slathered with catsup. There we go. Now it's a feast fit for a king-sized scooter. Level 7, the Mornay level, where we're actually making a sauce using roux and Mornay and bechamel and milk and other French words. There's a lot of whisking. There's carefulness being exercised, and it's really great. So let's talk cheese. I'm going with 12 ounces of different cheeses, some bringing meltiness and richness, others bringing tang, sharpness. We have different ages, different colors, different countries of origin, and it all comes together in the grand melting pot of mac and cheese melting pot. I have mostly a mild yellow cheddar. This is an excellent melter. It's going to help prevent the sauce from getting gritty. What makes sauce gritty is more aged cheeses. I have here some Gouda, which is how you're actually supposed to pronounce Gouda, but I know that I'm never going to get away with that the same way I would croissant, Just be like, and now I've got some Gouda here. Everybody's going to be like, the f*** did he just say to me in my Christian house, in front of my Christian daughter? And then for tons of flavor, but high potential of grittiness, so we're not using much of it, Parmigiano Reggiano. All these need to be fresh grated, and the Parmesan in particular, because I want it to melt quickly, I'm going to grate finely. Look at that beautiful mix and spread of cheese. Bear in mind, much in the way the Parmesan is now coating the strands of cheese, you could absolutely coat this in cornstarch, tapioca starch, potato starch, and simply melt it in evaporated milk. You'd have a cheese sauce that's way easier, and I think a better texture than the one we're about to make. We'll be right back after I consider what I'm doing here. So, in a medium-high walled saute pan, I'm melting 2 tablespoons of butter, adding an equal part of flour, whisking to combine into a paste. which we're then going to cook for 1 to 3 minutes, just until the raw flour smell dissipates. Now we've got 2 cups, that's 1 tablespoon butter and flour per cup of whole milk, which, maddeningly, we're going to stir in 1 little splash at a time. And when we do, things are going to clump up in rather a frightening and unsavory way. But worry not, because I know what I'm doing. If you just add it all at once, it'll clump like this and it'll just be this inside of your sauce. But if we make sure that each splash of milk is fully incorporated into the clumps, eventually it's going to smooth out. Now, at a certain point, you're just going to have a very thick bechamel, and that's the point when you can start adding more milk at a time. It's pretty much where we're at now. And there you have it, a beautifully smooth bechamel. Now we're going to slowly bring this bechamel up to a very gentle simmer. Then once we've cooked it for about 3 minutes, we're going to kill the heat, stir in our cheeses, and let the residual heat melt the cheese into a smooth Mornay sauce. What is Mornay? Well, metaphorically, it's an awakening from sleep into dream.
What?
Right? Well, it's gotta be the best Mornay I've ever made. Ooh. The original mac and cheese. Much trickier, but lots more opportunities to build flavor with different kinds of cheeses. Something about a Mornay sauce. You kind of can't beat it. Like, those other sauces were creamier and smoother because they were made from processed cheese, or they were made with starch, which makes things taste processed. It tastes like has the mouth feel of a packet cheese, you know? And this just feels like a classic mac and cheese sauce. Yes, it's not as smooth, but it's flawed in just the right ways to make it flawless. Being able to build a bechamel and a Mornay sauce are really great skills to have in your tool skill set pocket. And definitely worth doing the next time you're trying to impress your boss or something.
What do you say to people who say molecular gastronomy? What is that?
To those of you who don't know what molecular gastronomy is, it's the practice of spending lots of money to create balls and foams that I would say detract from eating experiences more than they add to them.
Why do people do that?
Nobody knows. And that's why you pay so darn much for it. But we're doing something different. We're only doing something that is technically molecular gastronomy. We're using sodium citrate.
Wait, so what is molecular gastronomy technically?
I have no fucking idea. So sodium citrate is an at-home equivalent to the stabilizer that they use in American cheese. It's basically how and why American cheese is such a great melter. So now we can do the same with not so great melting cheeses. That's what we're going to do. First, we got to grate our cheese. Do not use pre-shredded cheese for this joint, or I'll kill you. Just kidding. And then I'm just going to heat up 1 cup of milk. Meanwhile, over here, we're going to ready our blender. Into the blender, I'm going to measure about 12 ounces of cheese. And I'm going to add about a half teaspoon Dijon mustard. And for a big old bite of flavor, some finely grated Pecorino Romano cheese. And let's also throw a little bit of cayenne pepper in there just to show that we care. And as soon as our milk is boiling, we're gonna build our sauce. The milk's boiling. So I'm gonna add this half teaspoon of sodium citrate directly to the milk. We're gonna give that a little tiny whisking just to make sure the sodium citrate's dissolved. And then the blender awaits it. Start on relatively low speed. And that both should and has actually yielded an incredibly gooey cheese sauce. Okay, cavatappi with an absolutely foolproof, so foolproof it didn't make a fool of me, cheese sauce. I mean, it's so easy. It is next level creamy. It's ethereal. It's bizarre. It's honestly not my favorite. Doing this made me realize that I think I like Mornay sauce the most. But your ability to use any cheese and just bang it hard, fast, and just do it instantly in a blender, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty wild, and it's absolutely worth picking up a bag of sodium citrate and keeping it. under your bed next to the Playboy magazines. Just in case you need some cheese sauce. So that's level 8. After the break, we're going to see what happens when we add a special secret ingredient. Lots and lots of money. Level 9 is where we see what happens when we put a whole lot of money where our mouth is. And where our mouth is on this mac and cheese. So we're going to put some money into it. Do you see what I did there?
No.
It's rare that you put your money where your mouth is in the context of food. And frankly, that was extremely clever. And I came up with it on the fly. And I think we should just all recognize that.
Yeah, we all recognize that.
I loved it.
Recognize.
I feel so strongly about it.
That was good.
Perfect. We're seeing what happens when we use only the most expensive ingredients. So for the cheese, not only did Rachel go to Italy and get the most expensive cheese at Italy, which is saying something. This one was $60.99 a pound. This one was $36.99 a pound. And then we got the 4 most expensive cheeses from my local grocery shop, each of which was $27.99 a pound. So by putting a pound's worth of cheese into this cheese sauce, we're looking at, about a $35 cheese sauce, basically, depending on how much we use of each. And that's just the cheese sauce. I'm just getting started, Babish Nation. Next up, the pasta. And I love bucciate. This guy was $12 for this bag. And that's a lot. It's going to be these long curls. These guys are probably going to unfurl into these long curls, which are annoying to eat, which usually, expensive pasta, bullseye. We have Seneca milk clocking in at some dollars and some cents. This is the most expensive milk we could find, just trust us. I have one summer burgundy truffle clocking in at $40 for this little guy. We have a lovely lobster tail whose price cannot be calculated. It's priceless. And then we have this little whack of butter. This little guy, this little piece of Italian butter was like $12. Will these make a difference? These questions and more answered right now. Now the lobster tail, I'm going to cut open, pull out the meat, and gently butter poach it before adding it to the mac and cheese.
How do you respond to those who say adding lobster is cheating?
Has anybody ever said that?
I mean, this person I just made up for the sake of this question did.
Well, I would say to that person, cheating in the game of what?
Mac and cheese.
That's a good answer. Cheating in the game of mac and cheese what?
That's a great answer on your part.
Gotcha.
Touche.
I'm gonna grate up this cheese. Now to build the cheese sauce, instead of using plain old butter, I'm using this expensive butter that was used to poach lobster. So that you can, do I have to explain myself? That's a brilliant idea. I'm gonna do 1.5 tablespoons of this butter, add 1 tablespoon of flour. This is very, very little amounts of roux, but I'm gonna be using both sodium citrate and roux to ensure stabilization, but also a nice classic mac and cheese texture. Now I'm going to stream in our very expensive milk, 1 little splash at a time, whisking until fully incorporated before adding the next. Remember how we talked about this? You always forget. All right, here it is. Now I've added the lobster to the cheese sauce to sort of heat back through because it cooled off. And once this pasta's done, we're in the money. Because this was expensive. There you have it. Very expensive mac and cheese. I'm going to garnish with some finely minced chives because this is looking pretty pale, some freshly cracked black pepper, and of course, it's just not expensive unless it's completely drowned in freshly shaved black truffle. Okay, there it is. The most expensive mac and cheese ever conceived. It cost about $60 to make it. Imagine what they would charge you in a restaurant. Let's see if it's worth making. Well, the cheese sauce is delicious, and it is drowning out the truffle and the lobster. Can't really taste them. This is such a powerful, sharp, funky sauce that's fantastic, but it overpowered everything else in the orchestra. It just goes to show you can't throw money at problems. You can, but there are diminishing returns. So throwing money at the problem didn't solve it. Can we make technique the star of the show onto level 10? One that I'm not actually entirely sure what it is yet, because at the time of this recording, I haven't filmed it. Whatever it is, Level 10. Better be really, really good. It's level 10. So for this round, I want to try making pasta. Now, normally homemade pasta plus mac and cheese equals no-no. Homemade pasta tends to collapse under the weight of any significant sauce. So a thick, gloopy cheese sauce is for sure just going to take any macaroni we make and sandwich them, pancake them into nothingness. So I want to try and invent a new kind of pasta. Is that such a big deal? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make a hybrid between traditional Italian pasta dough and tteokbokki. I love tteokbokki and cheese, the microwave one, the easy, quick, ready snack version. It's one of my favorite expressions of mac and cheese. So can I make macaroni that has some of the same chewy, bouncy characteristics of tteokbokki? So to make our macaroni tteokbokki, our macbokki, I'm basically just going to incorporate a couple tteokbokki techniques into traditional pasta making. So first, I'm going to effectively make a tangzong out of rice flour. Basically, I'm going to pre-hydrate and pre-gelatinize a little bit of rice flour to add some resilience and extra chew to the final product. So I've got 30 grams of rice flour here, over which I'm going to pour 90 grams of boiling water. Mix to combine. This should form a thick, gloopy paste, and then we're going to let it cool completely before trying to work it into the dough. So now for the primary pasta dough, I've got 300 grams of semolina flour combined with 90 grams of white rice flour, 60 grams of tapioca starch, and 5 grams of kosher salt. Give that a tidy little whisking to make sure that everything is homogeneous. Now I'm going to add this cooled rice flour paste, and I'm actually going to press it through a fine mesh sieve to make sure that I don't have any lumps. Then I've got 10 grams of neutral oil, this is just vegetable oil, and 2 eggs plus 1 egg yolk, 120 grams of egg all told. Beat that up, add it to the bowl. Then I'm going to affix my dough hook. I'm just gonna let this knead for a few minutes until everything is evenly mixed. Then I'm gonna let it rest for about 20 minutes to make sure that all the starches and flours are hydrated so I have an accurate picture of what kind of consistency I'm working with here. It's looking pretty dry and crumbly. I'm just gonna incorporate things by hand. I have a feeling that once that hydrates, it's going to be the right consistency. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this guy up tightly in plastic wrap, let him sit at room temperature for about 20 minutes until everything is fully hydrated. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes, and I think this is good to go. Like, it's fully hydrated. It feels nice and firm, but not sticky, but not crumbly either. Let's give it a try. All right, so I have the small macaroni attachment set up here. So what you want to do here is grab little hunks of dough and form them into balls, which we're going to feed through the extruder, hopefully creating perfect macbokki on our very first try. That's how life works, right? Okay. Those are macaroni. Last time I checked, we're making macaroni. I know I shouldn't be so surprised when one of my ideas works, but whatever. I'm not that smart. Holy cats and dogs, it's macaroni. Holy macaroni is what I meant to say. And there we have it, folks. Some macbokki. So I'm very curious to see how this turns out. I'm not going to commit to it until I've tried some. So let's do that. Water's boiling. I'm going to start with 2 minutes, see where we end up. Now, conventional wisdom says as soon as they float, they're done, but I'm going to go ahead and not do that because they're already floating. Okay, that's 2 minutes. I'm going to drain, toss it with a little bit of butter and pasta water, see what we end up with. Okay, that's looking creamy and right. I want to see what kind of strength we're dealing with here. Really nice. It's not collapsing at all under weight. That's great. Uh-oh. It's not al dente, and that al dente is kind of like a soft exterior and a chewy, almost firm interior. This is just firm throughout, and it's delicious. So I set out to invent a new kind of pasta, and I did it on my first try. This is a very first in my life ever occurrence kind of thing. I know pride is a sin, but I think we have our level 10 mac and cheese mac. Now we just got to figure out the cheese. So to start things off, I'm going to make some Parmesan broth, combining 2 cups of chicken stock with an equal part of water. Then I'm adding some usual stock suspects. We have a big bundle of thyme, a couple bay leaves, shallots, a couple cloves of garlic. But then, rather unusually, we are adding Parmesan cheese rinds, as many as we can muster. That's going to simmer for probably about an hour. And I'm going to use this as the cooking liquid for my pasta. And then I'm going to insert a little bit of it into the sauce itself. So obviously, one of the things that steps up mac and cheese is crunch. And I want to bring crunch in two ways, in the form of cheese and in the form of bread. So I want to do some homemade breadcrumbs, but not any homemade breadcrumbs. What I want to do is tear some big sort of like webby breadcrumbs from a good baguette. So I'm gonna hack off that much, cut it in half. Okay, look at that. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I want to get this like big kind of webby structure. This is what I imagine being on top of the mac and cheese. Just these big kind of honeycombed bits of fried bread. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tear these out. Then I'm going to generously coat them in olive oil, and then I'm going to convection bake them to try and get them nice and evenly golden brown all over. Don't worry, this is not going to waste. So I have my oven preheating to 375 degrees Fahrenheit with convection. I'm going to toast it for probably 10-15 minutes, tossing every few minutes to make sure it's very, very even. Now onto the cheese sauce, and I kind of want to use a dizzying array of cheeses. I just do, because I have a fantastic balance of flavors here. We have kind of a sweet, fudgy vibe with, just a plain Jane Gouda. We have some sharpness and some funk coming from some provolone. We have some extreme cheddar sharpness coming from this Kerrygold Dubliner. We have some nuttiness and some cave-aged funk coming from some Gruyere. We have some sharpness and Parmesan-like characteristics in a much milder form with Manchego. And then we have a great melter in the form of Fontina. Really, it's 7 cheeses with the Parmesan cheese crisps. And that feels like overkill. And it is overkill. But I want to try it. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let's see how this blend of cheeses tastes as one cohesive unit. Delightful. It's got an assertive flavor, but not too assertive. Like that plus milk plus pasta, it's gonna be just right. I'm not just saying that because I don't have any other cheese left. Just in a nick of time, our breadcrumbs are out of the oven. They're looking fairy tale, just the way that I wanted them to. They're big, fluffy, crispy, fantastic. So now on the 7th cheese, while my oven is preheated, I'm going to make a couple of Parmesan fricos, or cheese crisps. So I'm going to grate this very finely into a nice little pile. I want it to melt fast. I want the fat to separate. I want the cheese to break effectively, and then for it to fry in its own fat, all in short order. Otherwise, it will just dry out. This guy's going to head into our 400 degree Fahrenheit oven for, we'll see how many minutes until they are cheese fricos. To make our cheese sauce, I'm going to do a pretty simple Mornay, but I'm going to bolster it a little bit of sodium citrate. That should make it glossier, should make it smoother, and make it more stable. But I want the natural, sort of familiar mouthfeel of Mornay. Sorry, I said mouthfeel. Here come the fricos. Nicely golden brown. Okay, 5-yard line. Let's do this. Oh, I'm nervous. Okay. Over on the stovetop, I have my Parmesan broth, in which I'm going to cook our pasta. I have 1 tablespoon each, butter and all-purpose flour for the base of my roux. I have 1 cup of whole milk, to which I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of sodium citrate for extra stability. Then I'm going to gently heat. Milk's nice and warm. Just has to be warm for the sodium citrate to dissolve. Pour it back into this measuring cup and start to stream it in. So now we have our bechamel that's been fortified with sodium citrate. So as soon as we've simmered for about 1 to 2 minutes, I'm going to kill the heat, add the cheese. I have 227 grams or 8 ounces of our cheese blend, and just use the residual heat in the bechamel and in the pan to melt the cheese into what should be a pretty perfect cheese sauce. All right, here is our makboki, ready to be plunged into the boiling water. Give my mac a taste, see if it's done cooking. It's only been about 90 seconds. Yep, it's ready to go. Scoop it out, add it to the sauce. I'm not going to drain it too much because I want some of that lovely cooking, simmering stock. Here we go, folks. It's time to make our Michelin mac. Oh, man. Look at that. It's fucking picture perfect. Are you kidding me? Wow. Oh, there you go, you freakos. And then we've got our giant flaky breadcrumbs. And then our ridiculous chives. And of course, let's throw some super coarse FGP right on top. And there you have it, folks. Level 10 mac and cheese, covered with shards of cheese and bread, herbs, and in a proprietary broth of 7 cheeses with homemade makboki noodles and Parmesan broth. Let's see how it is. It's still so remarkably creamy. And the flavors are just, wow. The Parmesan, you can taste the Parmesan cheese crisp so distinctly. And it's adding such great texture along with these huge flaky breadcrumbs. And the texture of the mac, it cannot be overstated how unique and perfect it is. It's fresh homemade pasta with a cheese sauce on it that's not folding under the pressure. It's a first for me. That's it. That is level 10 mac and cheese. It is mac and cheese to a T. It ticks every box for what makes mac and cheese. But it is playful. It is profoundly flavored. It's perfectly textured. It's the best mac and cheese I ever had in my life. And I made it. That doesn't make any sense. Thank you very much for joining me on these 10 levels of mac and cheese. Please let me know in the comments below, what do you want to see me explore 10 levels of? What's next? What should I do? I'm all ears. This is the new series on the Babish channel. I'm having so much fun making it. I can't wait to make more, and I can't wait to show you what we're working on. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me for almost 10 years now. And keep cooking. I will if you will.
When I'm sad, I often make a blue box mac and cheese and eat it straight from the pot standing over the sink. Why?
It's because it's comforting. It's something that says, I want to do what I want to do right now. There's nothing wrong with that. It's human nature. Are you human?
Do you want an honest response?
Yeah. Why would I ask that question and want a dishonest response? Why wouldn't you be a human? It was really a rhetorical question.
Yeah, why wouldn't I be a human?